Welcome to our channel. Today's video is the first in the series The Most Mysterious Structures in the World, and we will be talking about the Sphinx in Giza. But before we delve into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get started. The Great Sphinx in Giza, a symbol of strength and the pharaoh's power, a silent witness to the course of history, major events, the rise and fall of civilizations, a stone guardian of ancient secrets that might rewrite even the well-known history of the world. Everyone asks the same questions. How old is it really? Who built it? Did it originally have a lion's head? But the biggest question of all is simultaneously the greatest mystery. Does the Sphinx conceal beneath its paws the entrance to the legendary Hall of Records, where the lost knowledge of humanity, recorded before the biblical flood, is said to be hidden? The Great Sphinx is a monumental statue facing east, depicting a creature with a human head, located in Egypt on the southwest bank of the Nile. It is the largest statue ever carved from a single piece of stone. The Sphinx is 74 meters long, 19 meters wide, and 21 meters high, which is, incidentally, the height of a 7-story apartment building. Its paws is longer than a bus, and its head is the size of a small house. The Sphinx was created by first carving a horseshoe-shaped trench into the limestone bedrock, then sculpting the statue in the middle of it, and finally constructing a temple from the extracted stone blocks. Incidentally, it remains unclear how they accomplished this feat, as some blocks weigh up to 200 tons. Moving and precisely assembling them would present a considerable challenge even for contemporary engineers with modern technology, if they could achieve it at all. There are significant debates about its age. Many Egyptologists believe that it was created by ancient Egyptians in the 3rd millennium BCE, during the Old Kingdom, under the reign of the 4th dynasty ruler Khafre, or even his father, Pharaoh Khufu, along with the pyramid. Some scientists point out that the Sphinx bears signs of water erosion, caused by heavy rains or floods. Floods occurred in Egypt between 15,000 and 7,000 BCE, suggesting that the Sphinx could be thousands of years older than commonly thought. This claim is further supported by the existence of deep cracks in the statue, which are allegedly much older than its estimated age. The Sphinx spent at least half of its known existence buried up to its neck in sand. It was fully uncovered only from 1925 to 1936. The body is in much worse condition than the head, which has been exposed to the elements throughout its existence. Under normal circumstances, it would be the opposite, with the head in a desolate state and the body relatively untouched. The erosion of the statue was not caused by sand and wind, but by water. The last time water flowed in these areas was 7,000 years ago, suggesting that the Sphinx must be at least twice as old as assumed. But where, in the more recent Stone Age, would they have obtained tools capable of working such a large monolith? Author John Anthony West argues that it is the work of an advanced civilization from the lost Atlantis. The scholarly community understandably mocked this theory. However, this theory was also supported by Robert Schoch, a recognized professor at Boston University at the time. He stated that the Sphinx bore the signature of intense and torrential rains, saying, "This is a shape entirely typical of sandstone, on which it has rained for thousands of years. Erosion caused by wind and sun typically results in sharp edges, while water creates rounded shapes, and there is only one place in Egypt with such features, the Sphinx and the walls surrounding it. This would mean that the Sphinx and its temple are much older than other monuments from the time of the pharaohs, possibly up to 12,000 years." These conclusions were confirmed by 300 geologists at a meeting of the American Geological Society. The arguments put forth by geologists are unsettling and may eventually force a rewriting of the history associated with the age of the Sphinx. According to preserved hieroglyphs, the Sphinx's head was originally that of a lion and belonged to the goddess Mehit, depicted as a lioness. However, according to the most widely accepted theories, it was a chimera with a lion's body and a human head, constructed during the Pyramid era. According to a prevalent belief, the Sphinx's head supposedly represents the ruler of the 4th dynasty, Cheops, who reigned approximately from 2589 to 2566 BC. According to research from 2005, Cheops' firstborn son, Riyadh, allegedly had the head of the Sphinx made. Even the name by which the Egyptians referred to the Sphinx is not known to this day. The commonly used term Sphinx was coined by the ancient Greeks. Egyptian Arabs, on the other hand, used the term Abu el-Hole, meaning the father of terror. Over time, the Sphinx suffered various damages, and it was partially covered by sand. The first attempt to excavate the Sphinx dates back to 1400 BCE, when it was uncovered at least up to its feet, on the orders of Pharaoh Thutmose IV, as evidenced by the stone stele placed between its paws. In 1817, the first modern excavations were conducted by Captain Caviglia, who completely uncovered its chest. The Sphinx was fully excavated only in 1925. Did you know that the Sphinx has a hole on the top of its head? Charles Thomson first recorded it in 1733, writing, "On the crown of the head, there is a round hole through which an adult can descend into the body of the Sphinx." Napoleon's expedition also noticed this hole in the head, but after 3 meters, it was found that the rest was filled with sand. The French also made a considerable excavation in front of the Sphinx, and discovered doors just when they were forced to suspend the excavation. Even Dr. Selim Hassan cannot explain why the French had to halt the excavations and suggests that a possible explanation might be found in Napoleon's diaries. Dr. Selim Hassan was one of Egypt's first Egyptologists. He wrote 16 volumes of an encyclopedia on ancient Egypt in Arabic, and supervised the excavation of many ancient Egyptian tombs under the auspices of Cairo University. Some of the local residents even claim to have witnessed Napoleon's expedition uncovering doors, which, according to them, led into the depths of the Sphinx and further to the entrance of the Second Pyramid. In the 19th century, Auguste Mariette also searched for entrances to the Sphinx. However, in 1925, they had the hole in the head sealed with iron doors, and allegedly, a secret tunnel in the Sphinx's thigh was also supposed to be bricked up. Dr. Salim Hassan is convinced that the Sphinx stands on a pedestal that is still under the sand. Hassan's claim is supported by certain hieroglyphs depicting the Sphinx on a pedestal. He also emphasizes that the Egyptians would not have forgotten to include underground chambers that should still be beneath the pedestal. Even the ancient Roman historian and diplomat Pliny claims in his writings that there are secret chambers under the Sphinx. It is possible that the sand has preserved its secrets since the time of Pharaoh Khafre, who may have been the last to see the pedestal. Thanks to this, these secret and unexplored spaces could have escaped plundering and still await their revelation. What do these secret chambers beneath the Sphinx conceal? The first mention that there could be a secret hiding place near the Sphinx appears in the so-called building texts found on the walls of the Horus Temple in Edfu. The hieroglyphs narrate the existence of a so-called Hall of Records, where knowledge about the construction of Egyptian temples, sacred books, or symbols of power is said to be stored. These valuable pieces of information were allegedly sealed in a chamber by beings called the Shabtis. Over the centuries, several other ancient and medieval chroniclers also recorded accounts of the Chamber of Arcane Knowledge. Did they merely repeat the same legend, or did they have evidence for their claims? The so-called Hall of Records is commonly associated with the lost continent of Atlantis. Some Atlanteans supposedly managed to survive the destruction and hid their knowledge in various places around the world. One record chamber is said to be located on the Yucatan Peninsula, and the other is said to be hidden beneath the Sphinx. Others believe that the Egyptians themselves built the Hall of Records or the Hall of History, and according to legends, it conceals the secrets of the construction of the pyramids in Giza. Knowledge of alchemy or mathematics is also said to be stored there. Some attribute the construction of the mysterious vault to the enigmatic god Thoth, who is said to have hidden 42 books of wisdom, including teachings in magical skills. The Greek historian Herodotus from the 5th century BCE claimed that beneath the Sphinx lies a labyrinth leading to the underworld. The statement of the medieval Arab chronicler Pirouettewp is also strange, which reads, "Idris built the pyramid to preserve knowledge from destruction. Records of medicine, magic, and talismans were also stored here." Many Arab authors also claim that the mysterious chalice of Solomon, son of David, is hidden under the Sphinx. This chalice was said to be made from a single piece of large crystal with unique properties. When someone poured liquid into it, the liquid would start spinning, and if it spun from right to left, it was a sign of prosperity, but if the liquid spun from left to right, it was a sign of disaster. Edgar Cayce, also known as the Sleeping Prophet, added a crown to these speculations at the beginning of the last century. This American psychic, dictating his books in a trance, predicted the crash of the New York Stock Exchange, the start of World War II, and the dissolution of the Soviet Union, all of which came true. During one session, he also proclaimed that beneath the paws of the Sphinx is a secret archive of the pharaohs containing treasures and scrolls from the mythical Atlantis. More precisely, under the right paw of the Sphinx is the entrance to the underground spaces that supposedly lead to Cheops' pyramid. The same entrance to the underground tunnel is supposed to be found in the Pyramid of Cheops, and both of these roads, according to his visions, converge to the Hall of Records, which, among other things, is supposed to contain 32 tables describing the history of the mythical Atlantis. By the way, in his visions, Edgar Cayce also mentions extraterrestrial beings and giants on Earth. Most historians consider the legendary continent, which was supposed to disappear beneath the waves sometime around 12,000 years ago, as a myth, and they mocked Cayce's visions. However, half a century later, in 1987, electromagnetic surveys by scientists from Waseda University in Japan revealed geological anomalies near the Sphinx, indicating underground cavities. When French engineer Émile Brézé conducted research at the beginning of the 20th century, he discovered openings leading underground. However, the findings are somehow covered up during the work and forgotten for a long time. It was only in the 1970s, through the research project of Ain Shams University in Cairo and the American Stanford Research Institute, that it was revealed that there is some anomaly under the monument. The results of the research were confirmed by measurements from the team led by Japanese Egyptologist Sakuji Yoshimura from Waseda University in Tokyo, conducted in 1987. Through electromagnetic sounding, scientists determined the presence of tunnels and cavities underground, near the front and rear paws, and other geological abnormalities. Are they natural caves or man-made spaces? In 1991, Robert Schoch, along with geophysicist and oil drilling specialist Thomas Dobecki, mapped the subsurface in the immediate vicinity of the Sphinx. Using high-resolution seismic sensors, they discovered a large cavity approximately 7 meters below the Sphinx's left front paw that appeared to be too rectangular to be of natural origin. However, they could not investigate further, because as soon as this information came to light, Dr. Zahi Hawass, then Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, called the results American delusions. He accused geologists of exploiting Egypt for personal gain and immediately revoked the excavation permit for the expedition. Could there be more to this decision? Some research of the subsoil under the Sphinx was carried out by the company SRI Stanford Research International, which worked on a number of projects for the American Secret Service, CIA. Shedding a peculiar light on the secret project named Sphinx is the fact that in April 1996, the Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities once again granted a license, this time to a current American millionaire, who is a member of the Association for Research and Enlightenment, striving to popularize the statements of the prophet Edgar Cayce. However, he claims that they are not working for the Edgar Cayce Foundation, but that the main purpose of the research is to aid in the preservation and restoration of the pyramid and Sphinx. His statement, however, contradicts the footage from the beginning of 1996, featuring Dr. Zahi Hawass in a leading role. It captures him entering a tunnel beneath the Sphinx, saying, "Even Indiana Jones never dreamed he would stand here." Do you believe that? We are beneath the Sphinx, and this tunnel has never been opened. No one knows what's in it, and we will now open it for the first time. Finally, he adds, "You never know what may be hiding in it. Perhaps the sins and repentance of Egypt." Just a few minutes after the film leaked to the public on April 14, 1996, Hawass calls a press conference, confirming the existence of tunnels and chambers beneath the Sphinx. He claims that no one has visited them yet, and when they are opened, the whole world will see it live. However, since then, there has been silence. Many experts, as well as lay people, therefore pose the understandable question: were the chambers opened secretly? And is the discovery intentionally being withheld from the public? Have the lost knowledge long been in the hands of secret services? Any further requests from teams for a license to explore the discovered cavities beneath the Sphinx are rejected. The Sphinx is a symbol of Egypt, and the work of its ancestors could not have originated thousands of years before the ancient Egyptian empire even formed. Egyptians will never admit such a fact, and any excavations around the Sphinx are strictly prohibited. Whether the ancient archives of pharaohs or Atlanteans truly lie deep beneath the Sphinx remains a mystery. That's all from us for today. If you're interested in videos filled with mysterious mysteries, dark stories, legends, or monsters, and you crave more, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any new videos.